Um, my children came over. They made some references, which I'm not going to sacrifice their privatized whatever at the moment for references that I can very well hold in my gap since I have a problem with whatever within proximity of a city. And so there is a movie. I really thought there was, like, the island of Dr. Moreau was done over already within the movie company somewhere, someone's, I don't know whom, where they literally run around the island darting people. Again, can't remember what movie company that was, but I know it existed. I know it came out within my life frame. Not that I watched it, but I know that it existed. When I look up at the island of Dr. Moreau, apparently there's a 1996 version that came out, and this one says an English UN negotiator becomes stranded in the tropics with a mad scientist who makes half-human beasts. Now, I watched the trailer, and I am frightened at what anyone who doesn't know half of a story might think it to mean. Because it's this older gentleman with powder on his head, and then he's got 4 children. He calls them children, and then one. For me, it looks like if King's College, like the super elite educated King's College that wears bow ties, had some kind of philanthropist and, like, prehistoric, like, theatrical endeavor between philanthropist and therapist, or theorist, kind of like in a UFT, like a UFO kind of a way, if and only if that was the case. And then these beast of projects, which are very hard to quantumly disentangle, although the disingenuous just seems to slough it off. But in the realist of piecemeal and peacemakers, once the roots take hold of certain very touchy subjects, it then becomes very difficult to disengage or to de-entangle quantifiably, theoretically, philanthropically, and otherwise. So, with that being said, I watch it through that divine comedic lens of I'm at the end of some perverse biodiversity project that has created some citywide, multi-citywide biodiversity effects. It affects everyone. It's a really hard topic to talk about. It's a beast of a whatever to take on. Not that I ever wanted to take it on, but I'm thrown into the throes of it. And he even says a Kiop phrase of suffice it to say, Majuru and Junoir, Saint Noir, and so forth. I do theatrically see where it could be inflammatory, but I am hoping to do the PEACE and the PIECE for the people who are always looking for MEAL that I don't necessarily want to feed, but they've been feeding off of me, and quite frankly, I never had anything really to give, but it's got a purpose in the universe, especially in this throes of reality, and it was made. There's two big names in there that I'm aware of. I do not know the other two names. And I'm not going to watch the whole movie because, again, I don't know what the attachment to it is. I just see that it's relevant to New York City and what's been going on within my life frame in a freak show or sideshow kind of a way. In a motorbike with some kind of sidecar attached. Now, I'm not about developing more of these whatevers. Like, I mean, it looks like they've created a real thing here. Whether it be theoretically, if this is some theoretical field of 4 different past projects or promises that one zaddy or sugar daddy made, and then somehow other people inherited its beastly entrails. It's how I view it at the moment, like, respectively, trying to piece it together in a, like, that's not, again, the way that I would touch on those subjects, but I get a divine comedy that if it's at the end of a life cycle in economy or in working, it depends on what stage of disentanglement it's at.
Mr. Douglas, first of all, for the sake of...
And the other thing is, like, like, philanthropic, like, bajillionaires, and, like, what do they really want to get involved in? Why would they want to touch this with a 10-foot pole? Well, funny thing, I don't know how this got started, because this was here when I got here. I'm sure there's some kind of lines of things and protocols and running flags up, the right flagpoles, and I've heard all sorts of key-up phrases in this American English version.
Propriety, I'd like to present my children.
Hello, I am Walty.
How do you do, sir? I'm Mrs. Ello.
My name is Maling.
You've already met my beautiful daughter, Aisa. Magi, would you present yourself, please? He means you no harm, Mr. Douglas. He's just trying.
I imagine that being the new investor, or, like, who wants to get involved. It's like, wait, your children are who? And it has to be tangled or detangled. Why?
Tight. He just wants to shake your hand. Thank you.
This is the most outrageous spectacle I have ever witnessed. Look at yourself.
I understand that I must be shocking to you. However, I must also point out that I have an allergy to the sun, and that's why I've put this medication on.
Look at these people. Look at him.
Mr. Douglas, I don't think that I have the intellectual ability to condense 17 years of study and experiment into 17 minutes of explanation. For the moment, it will have to suffice to say that the people that you witnessed before, living under my care and protection, are animals that have been fused with human genes in the course of a series of scientific studies designed by myself.
Wow. Has it ever occurred to you might have totally lost your mind? I mean, this is just satanic.
Judge not, Mr. Douglas, that ye be not judged, for by these judgments shall ye also be judged. And let he who hath not sinned cast the first stone.
There is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked.
I think perhaps this is not the time to continue. We will have dinner at 8 o'clock. I hope that you will be in another state of mind that will be slightly more receptive.
So in front of you, you got a glass.
So those are the pieces, the small windows of picture-in-picture philanthropic in the bajillionaire category was able to put together for Band-Aids and whatever aid that they do. Although it might, if it's not explained correctly, be more inflammatory. But again, I don't know who's working with who or who's on whose side at this point. However, running a big city, that's already when you arrived in this state of chaos. As a manager, I completely understand the predicament that Marlon Brando was put in. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.